My daughter Krishni is life's most precious gift to me. But her toddler years were an anxious time for my wife and I, not knowing how to help her, wondering how to get her to talk. Krishni was over 3 years old and she hadn't spoken a single sentence. She was still speaking in monosyllables only. And we'd often wonder, how would we know her innermost thoughts and feelings? So one evening back then, I was sitting beside little Krishni on the couch and she was busy drawing something, and I was reading a book. She loved to draw, so she's busy drawing away, little hands working diligently, her eyes gleaming, and she was smiling. So I went back to reading my book and soon lost track of what she was doing. A few minutes later, she looked up and holding that sheet of paper excitedly, she gleefully declared, "Look, Papa, I made a rainbow." That moment, 9 years ago, changed my life as a parent. Firstly, of course, because Krishni talked for the very first time in her life. But also, my wife and I, we looked around our house and practically every corner, every wall, the living room, the bedrooms, the corridors, was covered with Krishni's colorful drawings and scribbles. And for the first time ever, we saw it as a manifestation of her rich inner world, her unheard thoughts and feelings and ideas. We had been so busy waiting to connect with her through talking that we failed completely. We missed completely connecting with these emotions that she was already conveying through this other medium of drawing. So later that night, as I sat on that couch once again, 3 questions were on my mind. First, can there be a correlation between children's drawing abilities and their emotional expression? Second, can drawing help children understand and express emotions that they are sensing but unable to convey in words? And third, how can I help Krishni and other children take care of their emotional hurts and scrapes and wounds in positive ways? So, I'm a technologist by profession, and we care a lot about user friendly solutions. And I'm also a practitioner of self awareness, and that's been a way of life for me for over 12 years now. So, it was in my quest to find answers to those 3 questions, it was kind of inevitable for me to think of building simple and practical self awareness tools for children. So, I started by experimenting with healing techniques from multiple traditions all over the world. And in that, I found that the method of drawing feelings is one of the easiest and the most effective tools for children 8 years and above. And all it really takes for a child to give unpleasant feelings an outlet is a sheet of paper and a few crayons. So, 3 years ago, I was living back in India and I worked with a 9-year-old boy, let's call him Jay. When I asked him to draw his most unpleasant feeling, he drew this. While he called the feeling sad, what he drew was so much more telling. "Why is his heart black?" I asked Jay. And with a quivering voice, Jay responded, "He has no friends because he's dark skinned." And his classmates say that his heart is as black as he is. Jay had been bullied and shamed ever since kindergarten. He was growing up actually believing that no one will ever be friends with him, that he will be lonely forever. But he could only use sad to describe everything he was feeling. At that age, children don't have that kind of extended vocabulary or the ability to convey complex emotions. But the drawing exercise was a breakthrough, for Jay had conveyed 5 years of bottled up shame in a single drawing more eloquently than he had ever been able to do with words. So, what I've learned through the experience of Jay and many other children of the world working through this method and helping them with it is that to really understand their deepest feelings, we must encourage children to draw. And according to the World Health Organization, even though symptoms of mental health conditions start showing by the age of 14, most cases go undetected and untreated. So when we equip children with tools for expressing emotional struggles, we are creating a huge preventative advantage. We are implementing an important preventative measure in place. But there's a huge responsibility for us grown-ups here. We must be acutely sensitive to our children's emotional developments and behavior changes. So if they suddenly enter a phase and they start acting out more frequently than before, or feel lost or listless or gloomy, then it's because of pesky emotions that they are not able to handle. So this is very important to understand. Acting out is the child's reaction to those emotions that they're experiencing. So before we react to their outward behavior and correct them or reprimand them for it, try to understand the deeper reasons why. Acknowledge their feelings, show them empathy, show them support, and let them know that we are on their side. That kind of presence from you will really help them feel safe in that fragile moment. And the safe, supportive space was so crucial to Jay's healing. Within a week of his first drawing, we did a couple of private counseling sessions, he and I, and he began to let go of this humiliation and shame that he was carrying within himself. And then he drew this. There was now a happy, fresh blue boy with jubilant hands and a smiling face. Jay eventually regained his self-esteem, started establishing healthy boundaries, and was able to stand up for himself. So with this process, I've been able to clearly detect the mental emotional struggles of children, many children like Jay. And it's an easy process to implement. Anyone, a parent, teacher, counselor, can replicate this technique when their child struggles with emotions. So how can you go about doing this? The first part of this process is to locate the emotion physically and then express it through drawing. In a quiet, relaxed setting, take a few deep breaths with the child and then ask them, encourage them to recall that painful incident or that painful feeling. And slowly the sensations will come alive in the body. These two elements, an idea, a thought, or a memory of that feeling or that incident, and the resulting sensations in the body, these two elements combined are what an emotion is. And then ask them, in which parts of the body are they feeling those emotions? And what's the temperature, color, shape, and size of those sensations? And then ask them to draw it out on a sheet of paper. With this step, a feeling that was abstract is now out there to be seen in form with its colors, location, and contours. And the drawings are so telling. And once the child has drawn out that feeling on a sheet of paper, it creates a bit of a distance between the child and the feeling, enabling them to explore the feeling, to observe the feeling in a neutral and a detached sort of a way without getting overpowered by it. So getting this far for a child is quite a milestone in itself. And the drawings, just as they've helped me, they will help you clearly identify the struggle of the child. And then either you can help the child manage that emotional struggle or engage the help of a children's therapist to help the child manage it. And that's step 2 of this process, managing the emotional struggle that's been detected through the process of drawing. I found the use of breathing techniques and mindfulness techniques to be particularly helpful in the management of stressful emotions, but there are several modalities available that you could use and choose from. And as always, when in doubt, ask an expert. With this process, an 8th grader was able to transform her exam-related stress. Notice the heavy, gray, messy load of stress that she's felt in her crown and drawn it out on a sheet of paper. And within a single session, the gray, messy load transformed into a bright and colorful, vibrant rainbow that she felt in her crown. An adolescent who had been sexually abused by her own father was able to begin her healing. Notice that she labeled the feeling hopeless, but the drawing of that hopelessness was so much more revealing and so much more telling. So she was able to begin her healing, and within a few sessions, this is how that hopelessness and the shame that was suffocating her let go of her. A juvenile delinquent is now able to take care of his deep-seated anger towards the world much better than before. When children have experiences like these, they're creating memories that can return to empower them at some point in the future. And to that point, my daughter Krishni, she's 12 years old today. She loves to talk. She's growing up to be quite a chirpy, young, vivacious girl, and she still loves to draw. So earlier this year, she was writing this long English language assessment test in school, and she panicked during the test, thinking she won't be able to finish it. So I asked her later, I said, how did you manage it? And so with a sheepish grin and her tongue between her teeth, she said, Papa, I spent a couple of minutes drawing out my stress. And that relaxed me. And I did not panic later, and I was able to finish the test in time. And Jay has come a long way too. He is 13 years old today. He can take care of his emotional hurts. But not only that, he has been a mentor to other emotionally vulnerable children in his school today. So what I'm saying is this, that if something's worked for these children once, then it has the potential to stick on as a habit or become a life skill. These before and after drawings are testimonials of the inner battles that these children ultimately won. And they won these battles not by fighting these emotions, not by repressing these emotions, not by running away from them, but by facing these emotions, by taking care of these emotions, by being with these emotions and understanding them. And in doing so, they recognize that they are a power much, much greater than their own minds. Nelson Mandela had said, history will judge us by the difference we make in the everyday lives of our children. So let us teach them tools that end their inner battles, tools that empower them and change their perception of who they are, tools that make them whole and complete. Then that wisdom will illuminate the way they think and the way they learn and the way they relate with the world. Can you imagine what an entire generation of children would grow up to be like if they were taught these skills along with their ABCs? A happier and a more fulfilled world. And that's the world that I wish for Krishni, Jay, and all our children. Thank you. Thank you very much.